When I first stepped onto the land, it felt both empty and full of promise. I was practically starting from scratch. No clear paths, no working structures, only the quiet whisper that this place could someday become a thriving farm. So I resolved to build it slowly, steadily, one day at a time. One beam, one wall, one dream after another. I once heard of a couple farmer in Connecticut.
Introduce yourself.
So I'm Yoko Takamura,
I'm Alex Carpenter.
and we own and operate Asoga Farm in East Putnam, Connecticut.
Who spent 2 whole years preparing their land before planting the first seed. That story became my compass. I realized early on that my first year, or even my first 2, would not be about harvests or yields. They would be about foundations, about patience, about faith in the unseen. My journey began with the mango trees. 4 had to come down to make space for the vegetable garden. And the rest needed heavy trimming. Standing beneath their towering branches, chainsaw in hand, I felt the weight of both responsibility and rebirth. With every tree I cut, I wasn't just clearing space. I was carving out the beginnings of a future I could almost touch. Of course, the tools that made this work possible, the wood chipper, the chainsaw, the carpentry tools, needed protection. And so the first structure on the farm was born. Using an abandoned pig pen as the frame, I built a steel-caged tool shed that could withstand both the storms outside and the uncertainties of leaving equipment unattended. It took about 2 weeks, but when I finally locked the door on that shed, I felt a small but powerful shift. The farm was no longer just an idea. It had a structure, a heartbeat. With the tool shed completed, my focus moved to the next essential piece, the chicken coop. In my vision of the farm, chickens would not just be livestock, they would be partners. Their manure would enrich my compost. Their presence would help close the loop between soil, plant, and animal. But I didn't want to buy new materials. I wanted the farm to build itself from its own past. And so I looked toward my mother's old cottage, abandoned, uninhabitable, but full of stories embedded in every beam. Demolishing the cottage felt bittersweet, but also strangely poetic. One structure was ending, so another could begin. On sunny days, the carpenters shaped the bones of the new chicken coop. On rainy days, they pulled apart the old cottage, piece by piece. Back and forth they went, until the coop stood proudly under a roof made entirely of salvaged sheets. Not a single new panel was purchased. The past had become the shelter for the future. The perimeter fence was next. Years without care had left it weak and broken. An open invitation for neighbors, goats, and chickens to wander through the property. Rebuilding it became a race against time. The farm needed boundaries so it could grow with intention. I was fortunate to find someone skilled, trustworthy, and fair. Together, we restored the fence, and with it, the sense of protection the farm desperately needed. The mango logs I had cut earlier didn't go to waste. I had them milled into lumber. And from that lumber, I built raised garden beds. 9 of them. Standing in a row, they looked like empty canvases, waiting for the first stroke of color. In future videos, I will share how each was crafted and prepared. But for now, they rest on the land like small promises of abundance. My compost bins, made from old shipping pallets, were the simplest structure I built, but perhaps the most symbolic. I constructed them myself with no hard hands and filled them with the scraps and remnants that will soon become nourishment for the soil. By the time I return from vacation, those bins will have quietly transformed waste into life. A reminder that growth often happens unseen. 6 months have passed since I began this journey. Months filled with sweat, decisions, expenses, and more than a few moments of doubt. Yet, looking out at the tool shed, the chicken coop, the fence, the raised beds, and the compost bins, I feel proud. I have built the beginnings of a farm. I have built the beginning of a dream. And with every structure completed, I grow even more inspired to continue this story in the years ahead.